Welcome back to the Pontiac Astre Mazda Miata mashup, LS1 powered. So we're working on the next phase today, and what we need to do is we have the rear end out for welding. Now we need someplace to mount that. So what I want to do is I want to tie under there the Miata front subframe to something in the back here to attach my four-link to. Now, because of the size and everything else of this Pontiac, there's not a lot of room. So what I plan on doing is running some beams right here along. So this is where the floor pan actually rolls down along this rocker, and it's spot welded. So what I'm thinking about doing is just cutting along here, taking the whole floor pan out, probably in three or four big pieces. Because we also have to make the rear wheel wells a lot wider because the tires are going to be a lot bigger. So that's the plan, and let me show you what we're going to put in. So some of you may think this might be a little bit overkill, but this is a 3x4. It's about 3/16 wall tubing. And this is going to add a ton of strength to the car. But also, by laying against a rocker panel, I want to use it, of course, as basically creating a frame in the car. But also, if there's ever a side impact, it's going to add that lower side support. Now, we're for sure going to put a roll hoop in this and maybe some bars that go along the seat that don't inhibit you when you get into the car. But it'll add that layer of safety back to the car that the new cars have. But the car is built back in designed in the late 60s actually. Never had. Well, I think I got some room to work on the frame on the passenger side now. So I went ahead and removed the floor pan from basically the firewall of the Miata all the way up to, as you can tell, right about where the rear axle sits. And I've taken the crossed, hopefully you can see this. So this is a pinch weld on the bottom. I'll clean this surface up, and that's where I'll weld that 3x4 into here. So it'll be 3 inches this way and 4 inches this way. And then the next thing I'll do is, this is what I've always wanted to tie into. So this is Miata. So I'll take that tube, narrow it, and shrink it down this way, and feed it up into this cavity as far as I can, and plug weld the side and the bottom and the top, and then probably come over at an angle, 45-degree angle to here, and run this along the rocker. So that's the plan. We'll see if it works. Well, here's our progress for the end of the day. It's on Monday. I got as you saw earlier, the floor pan is removed on the passenger side. And I have the 3x4 sitting in there. So basically it's this bar here is level with the bottom of the rocker seam. And you can see I'll make a jog for it to go up into here. But what I've been working on is getting all of the material off from the floor pan that was along this edge. So I have a tad more to do in the back, and a little hammer and a dolly, and that'll sit nice and flush. And then tomorrow we'll start working on this section. So good progress today. We're back to work on the frame, day 2. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's about a 1/16 of an inch gap between the new frame rail and the rocker panel all the way along. So I think that is good to start with. Now I'm going to start figuring out how to make this 3x4 fit in something that's probably 2.5 by 1.5. Not a big deal, just going to take some time. I'll show you more when we get a concept. Well, I needed something 2.5 by 1.5 to fit up inside the Miata frame rail. So since I couldn't find anything, I actually took that 3x4 box and just cut it down. It actually has got a little bit of a wedge in it, but fits in there nice and snug. So I'm just going to weld it on both sides, grind it down and make it fit. Got this all welded. It's nice and hot. So I'll go ahead and grind these edges down to make sure everything fits inside the Miata frame rail. And then I'll install this, just loosely fit right now. What I'm going to do is just drill some holes in the Miata and then plug weld this once all said and done and everything's in final position. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make some pieces to hook this over and go from basically 1.5 by 2.5 to 3 by 4. So I'll show you how we do that next. Don't know how well this shows up on the computer screen and the video, but this is basically to about right here is that Miata frame rail. And then I'm going to go over and up, I'll show you here in a minute, to this is the 3 by 3 inch section and this is the 4 inch section. So we're going to, it has to go from here, it has to go down 1/4 inch and go from, like I said, 1 by 2 to 3 by 4. So yeah, this will be all, I'll have plates inside here and the exterior plate, and I'm going to use the same 3/16 plate that I've been using on everything else. So this will be double walled in here, and in some spots I might have to do it on the outside, just put a diamond in here and do some plug welding on the outside. But it should be a really strong joint, and it should tie the Miata really well into the rocker panel of the Astre. So here we are with the next stage of the frame mock-up. So I've got the 3x4 laying in there, so it kind of extends the rocker panel out. It's just about level here. So we'll probably, of course, weld this top and bottom and make a panel that comes across here. The weld in there, but that's on down the road. So you can see we've got our piece in, almost like a wedge, and that'll get clamped and plug welded all the way around. So it'll be nice and sturdy into the Miata. And now what we have to build is I was just going to come up here and then over. But what I think I'm going to do is I step this back about 6 inches. So I'll build a plate on the bottom. It'll sit in there, and then weld a piece to here to that piece. Same thing inside. Plug weld that all in. So it'll give us basically 2 joints, and then we'll do that all the way around. Now this right now sits about 1/4 inch lower than this surface here. So we'll just make a plate that goes from here to here, here to here, here to here, and here to here. And of course, gusset them all the way around on the inside, and then maybe even put some gussets on the outside. So again, it'll be super duper strong, and it'll be a lot better than it was from the factory. And there we have the first template. So I decided to go about 5 inches. I think that looks good. Got plenty of room in here, and I can clean this out, but it won't interfere with people's feet getting in and out of the car, and we'll just have to do something with the floor pan. But strength first, feet second. So that will be the template for the first piece I make. So we'll make it again out of 3/16, and then we'll have a piece here and a piece here to tie them together. As you can see, I've got that tacked into place just to double check the fit and finish, and I'm quite happy with it. So I'll go ahead and fully weld that strengthening plate with a hole in it on, and then of course I'll weld inside and then get everything fit nice out here and just tack this all in place. I'm just going to tack the outer boxes in just so I can get everything the way I want it, and then I can pull it out and fully weld it. I don't think that's going to come off. So just welded it all the way around. And of course got the plug weld in there. And when I put this in for the final time, I'll go ahead and plug weld that to the tube that's in the Miata. It should be ready to go. I think that is where we're going to call it a day. So just welded in the bottom and then the support plug welded to each piece between the 4x4, or 3x4, and the part that goes to the Miata. So now tomorrow I can come in and make the side braces and then do the top. Doesn't feel like a whole lot of work for a day, but when you have to design it and figure it out, it takes a little while. Show you more tomorrow. Here we have most of passenger side frame rail. Of course, this is for the Miata, and over here is where the rocker panel sits. So you can see I did as much gusting on the inside, and I'll probably do one on the outside there, and possibly there, but just got the top plates put on, and then I can do some finish grinding. Show you more when we get there. And there you have it. One welded and ground frame rail to connect a Mazda Miata to a Pontiac Astre chassis. So it's a little funky, complex, but it fits. And it is way long, but we will chop that down after we get the rest of the chassis sorted out, get everything fitted in place. So I'll position the frame rail back in the car on the passenger side. So this is level, and we have it in the frame rail for the Miata. I'll just pinch that back together when I weld those. Get some weld splatter off there. So I wanted to neck this down so you can see the floorboard here. So this will give us some place to put the feet, and then the seat will probably somewhere in here. So that'll give a nice floorboard contour to meet down to it, and because we got to build around the transmission and everything else. So very happy with that. Basically a day and a half worth of work. So now we'll duplicate it on the other side. Now we know what we're doing and how to do it. It shouldn't take as long.